Alright, this is the Quadrilaterals mixed practice. Ladies, if y'all have questions, don't be scared to ask. Alright, so it gives us this trapezoid right here, and it wants to know what BCD is. So BCD is right here. Now, because I know it's a trapezoid, I know those are parallel. So if this is 95, I know that these two angles are supplementary because of SSIA. So 180 minus 95 is 85. Don't forget your degree sign. For BAD, it's a little bit different. Now right here I have a triangle that is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So if that angle is 30, over here that's 90. So what's the whole angle of BAD? 90 plus 30 is 120. For BAX, it already gave us that, so I don't know why it asked for it. No, just kidding. BAX, we just figured out was 30. And then side AB. Well, if it's 30, 60, 90, I know the long leg is 10, so I'm going to have to divide by the square root of 3. I have to rationalize, so I get 10 square roots of 3 over 3 as my short leg. And then to get to the hypotenuse, I times 2, so that would be 20 square roots of 3 over 3. Any questions? Alright, for this one, for the perimeter, it's an isosceles trapezoid, it tells me that. So if that's 7, that is also 7. I need to figure out that side right there. So I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to get 7 squared equals x squared plus 5 squared. 5 squared is 25, so I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. So 49 minus 25 is 24. So x squared equals 24. If you square root both sides, 24 is 4 times 6. What's the square root of 4? 2. So 2 square roots of 6, and it's isosceles, so that's both sides. Now I know right here is 8. Excuse me. It asks for perimeter. It says leave exact answers if possible. So on this one, I would be okay with either one. But 7 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8 is 30. And then you have 2 square roots of 6 plus 2 square roots of 6. That's 4 square roots of 6. Now if you gave me decimals on that one, your answer is 39.798. Yes. So on one like this, I think it'll tell you to round, that it's okay, but I just also want you to know that this is what an exact answer looks like. Number one, I want you to leave it as this one. Anytime you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, leave it in radical form. Okay. Same thing. 45, 45, 45, 90, leave it in radical form. Okay. If it's other angles, then you can do trig. But for these, we want you to do the rules. All right. Yes. I did. So what I did was yes, I did. What's the square root of 4? So that's where the 2. But when I have 2 square roots of 6 and 2 square roots of 6, they add together to be 4. Does that make sense? All right. Number 6. If CR is 19, this is an isosceles trapezoid, it tells us. If CR is 19, what is AD? It's also 19 because they're congruent. Now, if SA is 5 and SD is 7, what is RS? It's also going to be 5. So you can always see isosceles trapezoid is kind of symmetrical. So if you fold it, they'll be the same. So RDC, that's this whole thing. Well, this whole thing is 49. So this whole thing is also going to be 49 degrees. ARD is this whole side. Now, if this whole side is 49, what do we know about these right here? They're supplementary because they're SSIA. So 180 minus 49 is 131. All right, so that gave me 131. And if this side is 131, then this side is also 131. Now DRS is right here. So what else do I know? If I know that this right here is 28 and these two sides are parallel to each other, then I also know because of AIA, that little part right there is 28. If the whole thing is 131 and that's 28, I would do 131 minus 28, so I get 103 degrees. Does that make sense? That one was a little bit harder to find. And then it says CA and RD are those. CA and RD, those are, it's isosceles. Those are going to be congruent. So I'm going to set them congruent. And then AD and RC, their diagonals are also congruent. Now in this one, you're going to have to use substitution. It's really up to you whether to get X or Y by itself. Honestly, it doesn't matter on this one. Just because X is first right here, that's what I'm going to get by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And where I see an X, I'm going to substitute Y plus 11. So I'm taking out X and substituting that in. So then I get 2y plus 22 equals 3y plus 2. I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides and subtract 2 from both sides. So I end up getting 20 equals y. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong now? Oh, I found it. What did I forget? Nope, I forgot something. This plus 6 right here, I just kind of got rid of it. So I have to add in that plus 6. So that's going to be 22 plus 6 is 28 minus 2. That gives me 26. All right, now that I know what y is, 26 plus 11 is x, which is 37. Okay. For your next one, number 7 is a very important question that you'll see again. It says AU is 10. If I know AU is 10, that's 5 and 5. And it's a kite, so I know it's going to be a right angle. Now I have a 13 here. I want to know what angle TUH is. I want to know this whole thing right here. So what I'm going to do is I have 2 angles. I'm going to make this one X and this one Y. Does that make sense? Okay. So for X, I have adjacent and hypotenuse. So that's going to be the cosine of X equals the adjacent over the hypotenuse. I'm going to inverse, make sure you're in degrees. Inverse 5 over 13. So X is going to be 67.4. And I'm going to leave that in my calculator. Now for Y, I have adjacent. Do I have anything else? I know this side is 20, so what is this side going to be? 20. So I also have adjacent and hypotenuse. So the cosine of y is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So y is going to give me 75.5. Now to get TUH, I have to add these together. I'm not going to add those right there together. I'm going to add what's in my calculator. So I'm going to take that one plus this one, and my total is 142.9 degrees. Any questions? So this question right here is completely separate from up here. So now you're going to ignore what we just learned right there. And we're going to say HTU is 37. So HTU, so if this is 37, then what is, so I'm going to draw another kite because this is getting confusing. So if that's 37, I want to know what wait, I wrote that wrong, didn't I? No. UTA. So I want to know what the whole thing is right here. So what am I going to do? Well, it bisects, so they're both 37. So 37 plus 37 is 74 degrees. Now if I know that, I want TUA. I want this right here. Well, I know that's 90. And they create a right angle right here. A right triangle. So then I'm going to do 90 minus 37 gives me 53 degrees. Okay. Down here, if kite IT, or if it's a kite and IT is 10, I'm going to need to combine these. If IET is 40, and ITG is 52, find the perimeter. Oh, this one's not fun. Okay. For this one, I'll use my dragon pen. For this one, I have to find this side over here. But I can't do SOHCAHTOA yet because I don't even have these sides. So I'm going to call this X so I can find this side right here. So I have adjacent and hypotenuse. That's the cosine of 52 equals X over 10. To get X by itself, I multiply by 10. So 10 cosine of 52 is 6.157. Now that's that half of that short diagonal. Now I'm going to use that because I want to find this side. I'm going to call that Y. So I have opposite over hypotenuse. So that's the sine of 40 equals my opposite, which is my X. That number right here is going to go on top over my Y. How do I find Y? You switch them. So Y is going to equal 6.157 over the sine of 40. Now again, so you don't have rounding issues, take that number up there and divide by the sine of 40. And this side length is 9.578. Does that make sense? And if that's 9.578, what's that? The same thing. So that plus itself. And then if this is 10, what's this down here? So plus 20, because it's asking for the perimeter. The perimeter is 39.156, and it gives me no units. Does that make sense? It's just a lot of trig, a lot of knowing. Do you know this part? All right. Oops, I printed the same page. Let me real quick print out page 2. All right, for the back. For this part, it is a rectangle. It tells you that right here. So make sure you're paying attention to what shape it is. For rectangle, if the diagonals are all going to be the same, so they're all going to be 4. And if that side's 3, then that side's 3. I'm going to deal with the angles first, and then I'm going to go ahead and go with the last side. So if this is 27, if those are both 4, that makes this an isosceles triangle. So this will also be 27. So to find that angle right there, I'm going to add them together and then subtract from 180. So 126 is this angle right here. And then if I subtract from 180, I get 54 right there. Don't forget your degree signs. Now, I know it's a rectangle, so I know all of these are 90. So then I also know that to find this angle up here, I do 90 minus 27, which gives me 63. And then again, it's an isosceles triangle, so then this also has to be 63. And then those are also 27 because of AIA. And vertical angles makes that 126 and 54. Now, if you need a highlighter during your test, I recommend asking for one so you can find all the triangles. This whole diagonal, that's 4 and 4, is 8. And then right there is 3. I want to find the missing side, so I'm going to have to do Pythagorean theorem. 8 squared equals 3 squared plus x squared. 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to do 64 minus 9 gives me 55. So x squared equals 55. If I square root both sides, it just stays 55. So both those sides are the square root of 55. Does that make sense? Okay. This one right here is a rhombus. So if one side's 17, all of them are 17. And if AB is 20, that means it's 10 and 10. I also know that a rhombus makes right angles. Here's 35. A rhombus bisects the diagonals bisect the angle and they're congruent. So those are all 35. And then now I have a triangle. To find my missing angle, 35, 90. So 90 minus 35 is going to give me 55. So that means all of these are 55. Last but not least, I need to find this diagonal. So I'm just going to do Pythagorean theorem. Make sure you're always looking for the hypotenuse, and that's your C. Alright, and then I need to subtract 100 because that's 10 squared. And 17 squared minus 100 is 198, or 189, sorry. And I'm just going to leave it like that. And so if that's 189, so the square root of 189. So it's not. Questions? Yes, so unless you can go do it out, and I'm not even I don't even. You can simplify it more?
I was doing it right now, that's what I was going to ask.
Oh, it does. It simplifies into 9. So, no, yeah, this is 9 and 21. So this would be 3 square roots of 21. So you would simplify it if you can. Okay. I didn't take the time to do that on my key. Alright, right here, it's just a parallelogram. So I like vertical angles because those are easy. And then, so I'm going to find the linear pair because they have to add up to 180. So 180 minus 53 is 127. And then if I know if that's 127 and that's 41, I can add those together. and subtract from 180, and I get 12 degrees right here. And if that's 41, alternate interior angles make this also 41. And if this is 12, that's also 12. Now, if I didn't have any more information, I can't do anything else, but it tells me that angle A is 77. So this whole angle is 77. So then that means 77 minus 12, this side is 65, which means this side is 65. And I have a triangle here, so 53 plus 65, subtract that from 180, and you get 62. The biggest thing for this unit is find a triangle. Anywhere you can, find a triangle. And I can't figure out any sides here. Last but not least, what's the key word here? Square. So if the perimeter is 36, they're all the same. So this will be 9, 9, 9, and 9. All of these are 90, and because it's a square, what does it do here? It bisects, so they're all 45. And remember, that's where we get our 45, 45, 90 rules. Those are right. And then for our diagonals, if it's 9 and 9, what's this whole diagonal? 9 square roots of 2. So half of it would be 9 square roots of 2 over 2. And that would be each one. Does that make sense? Okay, over here, if I plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, what does that create? Parallelogram. If I plot 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, what does that create? A kite. And if I plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, this one I'm not real sure. It's not quite the exact same, so technically it's not a perfect trapezoid. I don't know. Maybe we just got the numbers wrong. Because I feel like it should say 5-2. If it said 5-2, then it would be a trapezoid. So I'm going to change that to 5-2. Then it would be a trapezoid. Last but not least, which set represents a valid deductive argument? What that means is just from the first two statements, what can you make a conclusion out of the second or the third statement? So the answer to this one is D. If all parallelograms have 4 sides and all polygons with 4 sides are quadrilaterals, so here's 4 sides, then all parallelograms are quadrilaterals. All right, thank you very much.